Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to OctoPrint Anywhere live Q&A. As we know it, OctoPrint Anywhere 1.0 was released about 10 days ago, and this live video cast is about providing a little bit more information about this new release, arguably a pretty significant one, as well as to answer any questions you may have. So just post your questions into the chat room. I will get to those questions asked online first, and then I will move on to the questions you guys submitted with the sign up forms. Okay. So while I'm waiting for more folks to join, waiting for you to post the questions in the chat room, I will. It feels a little bit weird that when I'm talking to a camera, like this is my first time doing the live video cast. But I'm just saying that it feels pretty weird, when I'm talking to a camera and I'm not seeing any reaction from the audience. Just feels weird. Anyway, let's get it out of the way. So while you guys are while I'm waiting for you guys to post the questions in the chat room, I want to take a few minutes to give a little bit more information about OctoPrint Anywhere, as well as about myself. My name's Kenneth Jiang. I'm the founder of OctoPrint Anywhere. My background is primarily software programming. As a matter of fact, it's been more than 30 years since I wrote my first line of code while I was in high school. So I'm also a maker myself. I'm also a maker myself. I got really into 3D printing about 4 or 5 years ago. And then I quickly discovered that OctoPrint was actually a superior solution when it comes to the affordable desktop printing actually that the people like you and I can afford. But it was also pretty obvious to me that there are many gaps in the OctoPrint ecosystem. So that's why I started to write like plugins for OctoPrint. Before OctoPrint Anywhere, I wrote a plugin called the Slicer, which was pretty popular too. And I recently just released another plugin called the Spaghetti Detective. It's a pretty cool one. You can check it out. So when it comes to hi, folks. I don't know what you guys are asking. Are you my dentist? The answer is no. Do you work? No way, man. You're okay. I don't know. I don't think those questions are meant for me. Oh, where am I from? That's a good question. I was originally from China. I moved from China to Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area, back in 2007. So that's been about 12 years. I have been living in the U.S. My favorite food, we can probably talk about that later because it's it doesn't have a lot of things to do with OctoPrint Anywhere 1.0. Where I was talking about how I started OctoPrint Anywhere. When I discovered OctoPrint, I quickly figured out that I needed a way to monitor my print even when I was not home, when I was not on the same network as OctoPrint. So at that time, I tried the different solutions. Port forwarding, an obvious one, but I knew as a software programmer, I knew that it was not a secure solution. And I tried what else? VPN. I tried the VPN, but my router was a pretty lousy one at that time. It didn't even support VPN. And I tried AstroPrint. Guess what? I couldn't figure out how to make AstroPrint work. And so at that time, I was like, okay, like if I, as a software programmer, can figure out how to make AstroPrint work, can have an easy way to remotely monitor my print. There are probably other people in the world who are in the same boat. That's why I started to create OctoPrint Anywhere, and it's been almost 2 years, a long way, and things have come along pretty well in terms of number of users. Like actually, as a matter of fact, we have tens of thousands of printers registered on OctoPrint Anywhere's network already today. Okay, enough about the backgrounds of OctoPrint Anywhere and myself, since probably for most of you, it's the first time see me on screen. I just took some time to talk about the background. Sorry about the noise. I don't know who's trying to start a car outside the window. But let me get to some of the questions. So where do you see OctoPrint and OctoPrint Anywhere going in the next year? What's next on the roadmap? It's a really good question. I try to only speak for OctoPrint Anywhere rather than OctoPrint, because that's probably Gina's job. I kind of see OctoPrint Anywhere to evolve into a solution where you can. That's a long-term goal, probably not just for the next 1 year, but evolve into something that you can rely on to have a pulse on your printer, almost anywhere. The name of OctoPrint Anywhere. So for the next year, some obvious things that can be done, including, for example, to integrate with the smart plugs, integration, like TP-Link's smart plugs, so that the users can remotely turn off the printer if they want. Probably add some safety features. I don't know, if you want to connect a smoke detector and somehow send that signal to OctoPrint Anywhere. That's probably one of the option there too. So yeah, that's kind of how I see that going. In general, it's gonna just be a more intuitive and holistic solution that so that you don't have to worry about I guess the way I see OctoPrint Anywhere is we have a lot of anxiety when it comes to printing, 3D printing, especially when you're not home. And I kind of see OctoPrint Anywhere as a way to lift that anxiety. So anything that can work in that direction, I'll be more than happy to accommodate. Cool. Hopefully I addressed that sufficiently. A bit of fan of the prices are very fair as well. Thank you. Keep up the work, bro. Can I invest? We can talk about that. 10% of the company. Oh, that put my valuation at 100. So the question is $10,000 for 10% of my company. So $100,000 as a valuation for my company, it's too low. I'm kidding. I don't know. Do you have any advice on how to? So Alan, your question is: do you have any advice on how to get back in the game and start pumping and scoring again? I have no idea. So I'm gonna get the questions that don't seem to be very relevant. Come to the right place. Yes. So Pash, Kenneth, please explain why OctoPrint is more reliable from a secure point of view. I think what you meant is OctoPrint Anywhere. So OctoPrint, I know that people quite sometimes mix OctoPrint and OctoPrint Anywhere. I'm actually a bit flattered by that, because OctoPrint Anywhere is a plugin in OctoPrint. But now, I think the fact that more and more people are mixing OctoPrint and OctoPrint Anywhere gives me the signal that OctoPrint Anywhere is pretty embedded in your 3D printing life. So that's why I say I'm flattered. But come back to the question. So Pash, you asked that I think you asked why OctoPrint Anywhere is more reliable from a security point of view. Like I said, I get this question quite a bit. Here's I don't know, like like I said, there are alternatives, right? Port forwarding, VPN. I don't know if I should go into the details why, like for example, port forwarding or VPN are, what are security problems there. Okay, so here's how I want to describe this, right? To explain this. So basically, when it comes to monitor your prints remotely, right? I kind of see like two ways. One is to, it's more like if you want to access something from outside of your home, like to access something inside your home. There are two approaches, right? One approach is you can open up your door and try to access that. You probably want to put a screen door to keep the mosquitoes and flies out. That's kind of I see how VPN or port forwarding are. Obviously, VPN is a lot more secure than port forwarding, but at the end of the day, you kind of punch a hole on your firewall so that you can get something that something is OctoPrint inside your firewall. Even VPN, which is a lot more secure than port forwarding, if you don't configure the rights, you still leave security holes there. Whereas OctoPrint Anywhere, like the way it works is to actually shut the door and then throw things out the window. Then the reason why I think it's more, I believe it's more secure is that, like you have the choice to decide which you throw out of the window, right? If you decide not to throw your credit card or driver's license out the window, it's a lot harder for people to get hold of them. And of course, people will ask, it's OctoPrint Anywhere's plugin that sends data to into the OctoPrint Anywhere server. How do I know what the plugin is sending out? The good part about that is like OctoPrint Anywhere's plugin is open source, so you can like go to the GitHub repo, examine like every line of the code to see what what that plugin is actually sending out. So that's why I feel like in general, like the solution, like the basically 3 printing cloud solution, including OctoPrint, they work the same way. Polar, they work the same way. Even MakerBots, like their own clouds, they work the same way. It's slightly more secure than opening up your door, like the port forwarding or VPN. Obviously, if you're a network network security expert, you can do VPN or even port forwarding pretty securely. But it's probably not the case for most of us. Anyway, enough about this security question. I think because this question came up a lot, that's kind of how I see it. Cool. So the next one, Michael. Thank you for answering my question and awesome theory direction in the past. Thank you. Okay. Alan, maybe I could 3D print myself, a partner. Yeah, I know you're lonely. So go with prints. Advice for who wants to get into the cool. Looks like I have exhausted the. Anyone else is asking a question? I don't think so. Well, at least not the question that's obviously related to OctoPrint Anywhere 1.0. Let me move on to the questions that were asked in the sign up form. So I'm going through the question list here. So the first question was the setup, benefits, and camera streaming. So I don't know what that means. I guess for example, the setup. I try to make OctoPrint Anywhere like as easy to set up as possible. As a matter of fact, most of the times you probably just need to press the register button like once to get signed up. Should be pretty straightforward. Benefits. If you don't know what benefits is, OctoPrint Anywhere is probably not for you. Which is okay. Like the people are, not all the people are printing while they're not home. So in this case, you probably don't need OctoPrint Anywhere. Camera streaming. I don't know what. So I can talk a little bit about. I guess the camera streaming was brought up here because there was a very important feature included in OctoPrint 1.0. It was the 25 frame per second video streaming. As far as I know, it is the only like 25 frame per second streaming solution among all the 3D printing cloud solutions. I don't think OctoPrint does it. I don't think Pola does it. Even MakerBot, their own cloud doesn't do it. So yeah, so but unfortunately, it's only included in the Pro plan. But you can always start a free trial to see if this is something that worth paying $5 per month long term. Cool. The second question about what new with webcam settings, ability to adjust more settings like brightness. Let me think. So what's new in webcam settings? Obviously, like actually, I tried to the 25 frame per second streaming is actually tricky. So I tried pretty hard to keep it as simple as possible, so that you don't have to worry about all those kind of settings. I think the only new settings that we added was to change the resolution without having to messing up with the configuration files. So in the terms of adjusting other things like brightness, maybe we'll do that later. I'm not a huge fan of like giving, again, my philosophy when it comes to building software is more about like simplicity, like intuitiveness. I kind of don't like giving a lot of like toggles and knobs for the users to mess up with. So unless a lot of people think like, for example, changing brightness is so important for their webcam, we're probably not going to do that anytime soon. Cool. We'll wait to see. Okay. Hopefully you're already asking a question here. Development and direction of OctoPrint. What's in the work? I don't know if here the people ask this question meant OctoPrint or OctoPrint Anywhere. Like I said, I have noticed that people sometimes mix this two words. But hopefully I also address a little bit of this question in terms of what we're thinking about doing for OctoPrint Anywhere. Multicolor plug-in gives errors when being used through Windows. From a Raspberry Zero, it works fine. This sounds like a bug. I would suggest that you just submit a issue on the OctoPrint Anywhere's GitHub repo. You can find it out by Googling OctoPrint Anywhere GitHub. Very likely the first one Google tells you is the right link. Include a little bit more information when you submit an issue. I would really appreciate that. Like a little bit of more information in the issue will actually speed up my troubleshooting response a lot faster than otherwise. The next one, can you add support for a TP-Link? Okay, TP-Link outlet switch to cut power to the printer. Definitely on our list, and pretty high on the list too. So yeah, like basically the answer is yes. At some point, we'll add that support. Oh, actually, a caveat to that. I think the tricky part about adding the integration with the TP-Link outlet is that TP-Link is not the only smart plugs out there. Other smart plugs like Wemo and stuff. I guess the tricky part is how we can provide a feature that allows the users to do the same thing for as many smart plugs as commonly available. So that's the tricky part. So that's why I can't give you a timeline in terms of when we're going to support that. We don't have that part figured out yet. Can OctoPrint be integrated more closely with simplified 3D, or I'm not using two interfaces? So I'm not using two interfaces to print. I think this question is more about OctoPrint, not OctoPrint anywhere. And I believe that, again, this question will be for Gina, not me. What is a proper protocol for using OctoPrint and OctoPrint anywhere? Just try to use OctoPrint to view a print in my ongoing print flows. Ooh. Stop printing and no option to restart a print. Maybe it's MicroLED CR10S Pro. Anyway, any recommendation for interaction between? So when is it safe to boot it up? Change for, so look, this, I think it's not unheard of that the sometimes OctoPrint can cause the prints to freeze. Actually, OctoPrint Anywhere, the plugin, there was a buggy version that caused that too. Hopefully, it's completely resolved for OctoPrint Anywhere, but it is possible that OctoPrint can sometimes can cause the print to freeze, although it happens very rarely. I don't know if any protocol can solve that. I think it's more about if you're unlucky that you trigger a bug somewhere in OctoPrint, it'll behave that way. I guess your best bet is still to bring this issue to OctoPrint's their own support channel, like their GitHub issue list. So again, it's a question probably for Gina, not me. Connection for 2 or 3 printers on one Pi 3B Plus. This is definitely an OctoPrint question, not OctoPrint Anywhere's question. I'll just skip that. Security aspect. What makes Anywhere a secure solution in general or compared to other remote access alternatives? I think I addressed this already. So let me come back here to see if we have more online questions here. Pash, will you somehow combine Anywhere and the spaghetti print? I think what you mean is the spaghetti detective. It's an excellent question. I think the answer is definitely yes. I don't know how and I don't know when yet, because I definitely see them work hand in hand. And the reason why I chose to keep them separate, for a lot of the different reasons. The most important reason was OctoPrint Anywhere was written in Node.js. The spaghetti detective was written in Python. So it's very hard to mingle them. That's why I chose to separate them. But yes, they will come together at some point. Oh yeah, you said that I mean spaghetti detective. Yes, cool. David, thoughts on Tommy? Thoughts on Tommy? Yeah, sure. Thoughts on 3D printers. So Alan, you should really okay. You ask whatever you want to ask. I guess I'll just skip your questions. Sorry about that. So Pash, Kenneth, what about a future release where you would combine Anywhere and Spaghetti Detective core features? And alerts on in Anywhere if a print fails with spaghetti pattern. This is definitely, in consideration. So like I said, I definitely think OctoPrint Anywhere and the Spaghetti Detective will come together at some point. Although I don't know how, but one way for them to come together is that I create a bridge from OctoPrint Anywhere to the Spaghetti Detective, so that you don't have to like maintain two accounts, right? You sign up with probably OctoPrint Anywhere, and then you say, "Hey, link it to the Spaghetti Detective." Um, then because everything that almost everything that the Spaghetti Detective needs is the webcam feed, and we already have the webcam feed in OctoPrint Anywhere, so that should work. But I don't want to guarantee that. So is there any other questions I should address online? All right. Looks like I answered all the questions asked online, so I'll come back to the submitted question list. So the next question was: is there a future updates where we can have notification if there is something wrong with the printer? I think it depends on what you mean by something's wrong with the printer. One feature that I thought about, I'm not sure if I'm gonna do, is that like we can have some kind of anomaly detection for the temperatures, right? So like for example, if the temperature obviously goes too high or stay like flat, that obvious that's not in the natural way. That means that probably the sensor got disconnected, something like that. I don't know. Like these kind of things we can definitely detect. We can definitely take notice and notify the users of those kind of anomalies. However, for other things that could be wrong with the printer, like if your motor, like step motor, is broken, I don't know, like if it's even possible for OctoPrint or OctoPrint Anywhere to pick up and notify user about. So yeah, like give me a little bit more specifics. I can definitely show you if it's in if it's on the roadmap. The next question is: I want to know if we can include more information in the email sent after each print is finished. That's an excellent question. Yeah, like I have to say that we have a little bit. We haven't really paid too much efforts into like perfecting the email. I can see how we can make the email a little more informative. But also in the meantime, like I want to know like what information the users are looking for in the email. So I think our GitHub repo is the excellent place where you can just submit an issue to say, hey, this is a feature request, and here's a piece of information that I want in the email. And if we think that makes sense, if we think that most people, most users will also benefit from that extra piece of information, we'll make it happen. The next question is: I would like to send a live feed to a website without allowing others to cancel or pause the print. Since I don't know what you mean by send the live feed to a website. If what you mean is like the share feature, so the in OctoPrint Anywhere, you can share the webcam feed with just a one URL, obviously encrypted URL that only people cannot guess that URL. You can only the people who you sent this URL to can access that feed. And for that shared link, I don't think No, like whoever is viewing that shared link cannot cancel or pause your print. They can only see your live feed. So if that's what you mean, it's already there. Cool. All right. Those are all the questions submitted online. So let me come back to the online questions. Oh, Pash, you're welcome, Pash. All right. Looks like well, you guys are pretty funny. I like that. I like the our user community with sense of humor. Um, Although to be honest with you, I'm a little bit nervous. Like I said, I'm the first time. It's the first time I'm doing the live video cast. So I won't be able to appreciate and respond to your humor like very effectively. But anyway, if you guys don't have other questions, maybe we call it a live cast and everyone gets 30 minutes back. Cool. I don't think I missed any questions. Let me just go through it one more time. No, I think it's about it. Cool. All right. I guess that concludes this live Q&A. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. Yeah. See you next time. Bye. Thank you, Mike.